The very fact that we can vote, the very fact that we will be voting at all, I think to myself, Susan B. Anthony's soul must tingle. Now, this goes back into dismantling something else. Did she know that she wouldn't live to see the passage of the 19th Amendment? I don't know. But I think one thing is true of our generation. I think a lot of people in our generation, men and women, have this secret belief that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, but I'll probably get to live out my lifetime. And you don't even admit that you feel that way. And once you remember you have children, you stop thinking it. Or once you realize you really care about children, you stop thinking it. But I think a lot of people feel like, whether they have really examined this belief or not, the Course in Miracles says, beware the danger of an unrecognized belief. It's so important that we continue to examine ourselves. And this thought that, well, why bother because it's too late? Well, it might be too late for your generation to have everything that you'd like to have on the planet, but it's not too late for other generations that will come after you unless you stop this work now. And I'm reminded of Buddhist principle, because Buddhism, in philosophy of Buddhism, your karma is not based on what you accomplished during this lifetime. Your karma is based on what you were trying to achieve at the time you died. So whether or not we succeed is almost irrelevant. What matters is that we go down, die trying. It is the only way to have, Buddhism talks a lot about whether or not you have a happy death. And when you're young enough, you just can't even believe there's that much concentration on whether or not you die happy, because you're so young, you're not thinking about that day yet. But I'm from a generation, the social potential in America, based on the fact that baby boomer women have reached menopause. Do you know what it means that this many millions of American women have reached an age where we don't care what people think about what we say? This is extraordinary! This is extraordinary! I sat next to a congresswoman at a dinner in New York the other night, a woman who was in Congress for about 26 years. She actually, Pat Schroeder, she ran for president. Right? Wonderful, wonderful icon of the feminists, all of us who are interested in these kinds of things. And I said, do you ever think about running for office again? And she says, I'm 66, and she pointed to some younger women, very beautiful, sort of hot women at the table behind us. She said, let them do it. I said, oh, Pat, please, they can't do it. No, you do it. Okay. The issue is whether we will now lay claim to what is possible, whether we will have conviction, whether we will have courage. I remember when, I know many of you are aware, if not all of you, of the work of my esteemed colleague, Jean Houston. We all know Jean Houston, right? Jean Houston once came up to me several years ago, and she said, Marianne, it's absolutely, absolutely wonderful what you were doing, taking the social gospel, taking the political gospel, applying it to the spiritual principles, taking the spiritual principles, but you must continue, you must continue. And I said, Jean, I have to tell you, the stuff you get in this society for standing up what you believe, for belief, standing up for the word love, you'd think you were a serial killer. You're so pushed down, you're so marginalized, even other women by the elite. I mean, it's like, the stuff you get. I said, sometimes I think if I continued with this stuff talking about love and politics, somebody might kill me. And do you know what her response was? Oh, what do you care? And that really is the answer. That really is the answer. Martin Luther King said, if you haven't found a cause worth dying for, you don't have a life worth living yet.